We got a Nathan?
Thought sure I wasn't ready for it.
Yeah, before you start, it's 3 minutes. There's a clock right there.
Okay.
So I'll let you know when you get close to that time.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thanks for having me in. My name is Nathan Weathers. I'm here representing the Ording Youth Lacrosse Club. Lacrosse, a little history on it, is the oldest sport in North America. It originated in the Northeast and into Canada with the Native Americans. Over the past 5 to 10 years, it's the fastest growing high school sport in America. Last year, I had the opportunity to take a week off work and work in the elementary school PE classes. I think I saw close to 350 kids, something like that, and they loved experiencing lacrosse. So after I was done with that, we researched what U.S. Lacrosse has to offer, and they have what's called a soft stick grant program for school districts. It's plastic sticks with rubber balls. It also has a 220-page curriculum for the educators. I gave you page 1 of that. And then it also has a full video outline of curriculum for PE teachers. The youth club had the money to go out and purchase the sticks themselves last year, so we invested close to $1,000. We also have money budgeted to outfit the rest of the schools. But what we found out very quickly was that we missed one step, and that was your approval. So we held on to everything that we had purchased. This year, I'd like to work on getting your approval so that we can present, our donation to the schools and start working with the educators and giving the kids a good opportunity. And that's really it. I don't know what next steps are, but I'm sure you guys do.
Thank you so much. Thank you for volunteering in our schools and for being willing to bring this. So we'll bring it to our teaching and learning department to work with our PE classes and then make recommendations to the board. But thank you for your volunteer in our schools and for advocating for Ording kids and supporting Ording kids.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Kathleen?
I just
Before
have,
you start, same thing. Markers at the bottom, 3 minutes. Thank you.
I just have 2 quick questions. I had the honor of getting to substitute in kindergarten in September yesterday, and that's when I realized that all the kindergartens are at 23, 24. I've been hearing about the 4th grades that are already at 29, and I just wanted to ask if there's any plans or strategies to deal with that, because 23 kindergartners in September is a lot of work, just to let you know. My other quick question is has to do with the exit presentation. I read that, and I saw that only 25% of the exit interviews are returned, 9 out of the 34. It's not exactly 25, it's a little less. But I was concerned about, do you have any strategies, any ideas that you're going to use so that you can reach your goal of getting that information? Because I think that is valuable information as to why people are leaving, and 25% isn't really sufficient data, I would think. It wouldn't have been in a classroom, so I would assume it wouldn't be in a school district. So thank you, that's what I wanted to ask.
Thank you, Kathy.
All righty.
I'll follow up on those papers.
Okay. Next thing we're going to go to is recognition, introducing the new staff.
It's so fun each month when we get to recognize recognize different folks across our system, and September is an especially fun month because we get to introduce new staff. So principals, will you please come forward? And while you're doing that, I have a staff member to introduce, so come on forward, all 4 of you, or 8, however many of you there are. Are all 8 here?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Matt's at a conference.
Okay, 7 out of 8. That's awesome. Thank you, leaders, for being here. Ashley, do you want to turn your mic off until or your phone maybe? Is that what it is?
This is remove the phone. Phone's vibrating.
I'm sorry.
It's Mr. Freeze's student. So, before we start, I would like to introduce a new principal, and then she can introduce her new assistant principal, Christy Ellenwood. Christy is joining us from the White River School District, where she served as a principal for 11 years. And before that, she was a teacher for 7 years, I believe. And when she's not doing that, she likes riding her horses and hanging out with her husband and playing with the dog. So, Chris, you're so glad that you're with us already. Your questions, your fresh eyes, and fresh perspective are making me and us better and smarter about our work. So I'm so glad you've joined our team. Principal Freeze, will you introduce new high school staff?
I will. Bring them up.
And executive directors, you have folks too, so come on down. Anyone who has somebody to introduce you can come on down.
Yeah, you betcha. Stacy, can you stand or join me? I just want to introduce Stacy to you. Stacy is new parent for us at the high school, and just by chance I didn't know about this, and she let me know the first time I met her. She is a behavioral specialist. She's working on her degree right now in, give me the title of it. BCBA. And so she's a real good addition. We're amazed at her work that she's already done with some of our students, and our special education staff is already fighting over who gets her when, and so it's been a fun little trade, and she's our sole new staff member, so we're very excited, and I think we got a huge W with you. So welcome to the district, Stacy. Why do we split?
Anyone else from high school? You were going to play Red Rover as an intermission. Anyone else already in high school?
That's it, we're in high school.
Thank you, Principal Freeze. Our middle school team, Mr. Slagle, Mr. Collins.
Evening, it's nice to be back. The last time I got stood up, I was in middle school, so this is totally appropriate. None of my new folks are with me tonight. We were really lucky this year. Of the 5 new hires, 3 of them come to the table with experience, and so that's a really nice place for us to be. We hired science teachers, 14-year veteran, national board certified teacher, Elliot Scave. He and I actually didn't cross paths, but taught about a half mile from each other at the same time when we were living in LA. So it was nice to connect with an LA person. Megan Hannes did a long-term sub job at the high school last spring for maternity leave. She's also a mom in the district. She joined us in the math department. She's got experience in Kent. She brings high school level math experience from Kent. Travis Hunt, we picked up from Auburn. He's the new health fitness instructor. He's also highly interested in coaching for us, and so it's nice to have an additional in-building coach that's coming on board. Kelsey Webster is a brand new teacher out of Central. She's working in our humanities department. And Sam Marco is a brand new teacher also out of Central, and he's one of our new math teachers and also has coaching ambitions. So we're real excited to have those folks join our team.
Thank you. PTR leaders, Principal Jensen and Powell.
Perfect. So Andrew Milo is here with us today. I didn't get sit up. So Andrew's actually had been with us for the most of the year last year in a long-term sub position, but we were able to bring her on full-time this year. So she's working as a one-on-one with a couple of our kiddos and doing a fabulous job. We're thrilled to have her officially. We also have a few other new people with us this year. This year, at the end of the year, we had a lot of retirements out of Ptarmigan and people who had been at Ptarmigan since it opened. So we had some great people that we lost, but we also got to fill in with more great people, which is fabulous. So we have brought on Brandy Palermo, who is in our high needs special ed classroom, and she's a parent in that. We brought on Chandler Coates, who's a first-year, first-grade teacher. So she could use some love. If you swing on by, she could probably use some coffee. We also brought on Courtney Henson, who we lovingly. It's great when we get to have our employees who go through their teacher program, and so she was classified staff, went through her teacher program and all of that through our system. She actually did her practicum hours at Ptarmigan, then student taught away, and then we were able to bring her on this year for 2nd grade. So she's with us now. We also brought on Erin Weiss, who we got from Puyallup School District. Michelle Avolio, who we got from Kent, I believe. I might have messed that up. National Board has been a high top leader for their district and all of that, so we brought her on this year. as well as Jennifer Ballesteri, who came to us from a private school system. Thrilled to have her and her kids at our school. And then we brought on a new counselor.
He's over here.
So we brought on a new counselor, Karina Schoonover, who's coming to join us from Eatonville.
Thank you. And Ording Primary School, Principals Ellen Wood and Beers.
So I want to start by introducing Tim Beers. He's our assistant principal. So one of the first things I was able to do was hire a member of our team. And Tim comes to us from the Auburn School District, where he was a teacher for 12 years, 3rd and 4th grade. Also taught kindergarten at Muckleshoot. Has a lot of experience with PBIS and safety. He is a husband and dad to 4. So when he's not working with kids at school, he's also attending open house for his kids and supporting his 4 students. So we're really glad to have him as part of our team. We also got to hire 5 new teachers at OPS for this year. So when I say your name, if you'd stand. So Stephanie Fries is teaching 1st grade this year. A veteran teacher, has quite a few years of experience in kindergarten and 1st grade, so a great fit for our 1st grade team. She also has experience teaching library at PTR. Mom to Audrey and Luke, probably some of her most important roles, and then had an opportunity to attend PLC, so a great kickoff for the year by being part of our team. Thank you for joining us this year. Natalie Deckert is teaching 2nd grade, a recent Central grad, also student taught at OPS, so is a familiar face in our building. She student taught with Mrs. Cortez in 2nd grade. She speaks French, and so you might hear her sharing that with our students. Was married August 4th, also attended the PLC conference with us, so we've thrown a lot at her in a very short amount of time, so we're glad to have you as part of our team. Thank you. Dana Osling is teaching 3rd grade this year. Comes to us from the Puyallup School District, where she taught for 5 years. She's also working with our students who are highly capable and is part of our technology pilot team this year. Is mom to Jake and Elijah, and so is working with them and keeping busy this year as she learns all the things that go on in our building. So thank you for being with us. We have a couple of our classified staff who couldn't be here tonight. Stephanie Ramirez is part of our preschool team. She was actually hired mid-year last year, and we had the opportunity to bring her back. 2 of her boys also attend OPS, Nolan and Boston. Our team is just thrilled to have her back in the building. And then we had an opportunity to hire another OPS parent to be a monitor on our playground. Carissa McCabe, both of her girls attend to OPS. She's a soccer coach, loves the outdoors, and has just done a great job of ensuring that our students are safe and active on our playground. You're part of the new team, and Tim's going to introduce the rest.
Yes, we also hired Stephanie Stephenson as a kindergarten teacher. She actually student taught at OPS and in kindergarten, and she taught kindergarten in Oregon and also in Illinois. And her husband's doing his medical residency in Chicago, and we're really happy to have her here at OPS. We also hired Nicole Grisham as a new 1st grade teacher. She recently graduated from St. Martin's, and she just told me that her father also works at St. Martin's. And that's awesome. That's why she chose to go there. And she did her student teaching in Derringer. And she also is a 1st grade teacher. So
She and Chandler, but
yes,
We're related.
she can get all the encouragement she can get. Thank you. We appreciate you at OPS. We also hired a new monitor, Rachel Peters. Rachel Peters is she is a Ording High School graduate who went to OPS when she was young, and she worked at the after-school program called Right at School, and her brother is the library tech at PTR, and right now she is attending WGU to become a teacher. We are excited to have you at OPS.
And she's really brave because she starts her day at the middle school.
Yes. She does, and we also have another staff member who is not here, Bonnie Holmes, who we hired to join our preschool team as a paraeducator, and she came from Ohio with a lot of experience as a paraeducator, and we're happy to have her join our team.
Okay, I'm gonna get my one who, so Karina, now you're gonna stand up.
Traffic.
We know.
So this is Karina Schoonover, who's joining us as our new elementary counselor at Ptarmigan Ridge. She's coming to us from high school down to elementary, so it's a bit of a learning curve, but she's doing fabulous for the
And then I'd like to introduce our Executive Director of Student Support Services. I know.
I don't know that
It almost came out, Cliff Willis. Yeah. Who hired three new staff members this year.
Hi, I want to introduce three people who have family commitments tonight. But Megan Gentile is our brand new transportation director, and she made it through her first beginning of school. And I want you to know that usually this time of year, we receive phone calls regarding kids who have not been picked up. And we received none. So as a result, and she's also been on buses already. Her and I have already been out to bus stops already. And she's looking at different ways to pick up kids. And so I'm very excited about having her. And she's traveled well. She's been in big districts like Kent, as a bus driver, Kettle Falls, White River, and then she was University Place. She was a dispatcher in University Place. I have two other staff. One is Jennifer Lewis, who's our new occupational therapist. She's been here for a while as a contractor. Now she's one of our employees, which is really a good deal because she has over 20 years experience, which I'm very excited about. And her plan was to be here for a while, so knock on wood. And then Bridget Thompson. I want you to know too is that something I'm very unfamiliar with is the fact that we have two SLPAs, which are speech language pathology assistants, who are actually licensed, which is a rarity, and I have two of them. And Bridget Thompson comes from Oregon. She went to school in Oregon to get her license, and so we're very happy to have her over at OPS this year. So I feel very fortunate to have such a great staff in the special education and for transportation. It's been totally a great thing working with, and I've learned a lot, by the way, about bus stops this year, and what it means. And so, but anyway, I'm very excited about the staff we hired this year.
So to the board, we just want to say thank you for allowing us the opportunity to continue to hire great staff members. We hired 28 staff members this year to start our school year based on retirements and resignations. And one of the things that we've heard from staff is that we've heard that they want to know who's being hired. And so one of the things that happened this year with our communications and superintendent's office is we put together a quick look that has a slideshow of each of them. So whether they're here tonight or not, you still get to see them in that slideshow. Thank you.
Thank you, principals. Thank you, new staff. Welcome. We're so glad you're here.
Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you. Staff, we would love it if you stayed. You are certainly welcome to, but you're also welcome to go. We know you've had a long day, so if you'd like to go, you certainly can.
Thanks for coming. Thank you.
Well, I'd like to welcome Ava as our new student board representative. It was such a privilege and joy to get to interview all the students who applied to serve as student board rep, and Ava in her interview absolutely shined. Ava participates in varsity track and wrestling, which I got to see her do, which is really fun. She's a member of National Honor Society and ASB, and this is really special and close to my heart. She wants to become an elementary school teacher, and she loves working toward creating a positive climate and a culture of caring at her school and within our community. So Ava, welcome. Our board superintendent team would love to get a picture with you, and then we can introduce you to our community as well.
Right now, right now.
Should we have her hold her nameplate?
Yeah, that's good. Thank you.
Officials that.
Cute. Right here. Let's do it with the like the whole like desk and stuff in the background. Yeah, it's Bonnie, you don't want to be in the picture?
I'm good.
She's a sharp one.
Clementine's gonna have to be.
There we go.
Oh, that's cute. Cute. Awesome. Okay. 1, 2, 3. All right. Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, welcome. It's gonna be an exciting year.
Year 1 of a 2-year term, and Ashley gets to support Ava in her transition because Ashley, you're now the veteran. So thank you for returning, Ashley, and serving your senior year.
Yes.
All right, the next thing on the list is the reports. First one is financial report.
And this report was prepared by Marcy Bannon. Thank you, Marcy, for your
Thank you,
work
Marcy.
on this. And if you have questions, Marcy and Debbie are certainly here and available to answer those.
Any questions?
I appreciate Jennifer's questions that she had with the detail on the our circuits expenses, but I had no further questions.
Thank you. I have no further questions as well.
Since no questions, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcy.
Exit interview. Right, right. What's that noise?
Sorry. Josh can explain it fast. We've been texting.
The way they run the lines, you can't run power and data lines next to audio lines. And we're pretty sure that's what they did up here to get the lines back to that room. So there's not much we can do unless we go up there and start separating lines and cables and stuff.
We've got it on our to-be solved list with
Yes.
technology,
Okay.
as of about 20 minutes ago.
That's transparent.
Gotcha. Understand?
Thank you, tech team. Hey, Debbie. Thank you for
Hello.
sharing about exit interviews.
Sure, so this is the second year that we just completed of our exit interview process. This year, we sent forms out to 34 staff members who had retired or resigned or whatever. Of those 34, as was mentioned, we had about 25% of those forms returned. We are looking at what we can do differently. So far, what we've done, and I know that you have pieces of this from before, we mail out the form along with a letter saying thank you for your service. And so we do that as a personalized letter with an individual signature to honor the fact that people have worked with the district. We're finding that, and I think I've mentioned to you before, I'm not good at doing hard copy surveys, so we're finding that not all of them are being returned. So we're also on a reminder, or certainly when people request it, we're sending them out as a electronic fillable form. But just as recent as today, we are looking at yet another process that might help us, and that would be with Tara's support. We are looking at putting together a Google Doc where it can just be online, so they would receive the link to be able to fill out the form. It'd be quick and easy, and so we're hoping for an increased return rate on the exit interview forms. Because really, one of the things that I wanted to share with you tonight is that in drafting this memo, I used the word theme with regard to likes and dislikes of the job. And I regret using that word because it really wasn't themes. We had so few forms that it was more or less, this is what people said. And so some of these comments on here, they're definitely reflective of the information that we received, but I wouldn't necessarily call all of them themes. We do have some where when we gathered information about white people, we're looking at other employment. You can see that some of the numbers are a little bit higher with regard to those. We have 3 and 4 people who talked about working conditions. We know that some of that has to do with the workload that they were feeling at the time. There were requests to us about, is this area staffed appropriately? And we did take a look at that, and we made some staffing
changes and some additions, basically, to add some additional staffing time. Really, we want to use this information so that we can look at trends, so that we can look over time and see what is it that is happening in the Oregon School District. Most importantly, we use it as a retention tool, so that when we look at those trends, or even year by year, especially if it's specific to a certain type of job or a certain location in the district, that we can address that. And we address it by sharing information with the superintendent and certainly sharing information with the supervisors, for example, our principals or our department heads. When we believe that there's something that has came through as a theme that really should be tackled. Because ultimately what we're looking at is for people to stay in Oregon. We're looking for people to want to be in Oregon and to continue their employment and retire rather than a voluntary resignation. So that's what we're using it for. And we will continue to strengthen, I hope, our goal is to strengthen the process, but we will continue to look at ways to do that so that we can gather additional information.
I just had a couple, just thoughts as you were talking, not so much questions, but, is the survey sent after their last day of employment? And I'm wondering if there'd be.
It's actually sent at the point that it's approved by the board. So when they submit a resignation, if they submit that resignation in December for the end of the year, it's sent after, it's sent with the letter thanking them for their service, and it goes after that board meeting.
Gotcha.
Most often, though, I will tell you that people are resigning at, in a short time from when they're leaving. So they might say they're leaving before the last day of school, and they still get a check in August, but we're sending it closer to the end of their employment just by the way it works out.
Okay.
What have you seen in other districts? Is 25% good, bad?
I don't believe that, I believe we have room for improvement. I don't think it's typical. I think we would get closer to 40%, maybe 50%. That if it popped up to 50% return rate, although I on 100, I would think we were hitting the mark. Because I know how, I'm basing that on what we did with the employee engagement survey, what the percentages are there. They felt that we were doing a good job when we were getting a higher return rate from that. But life's busy and society's busy, and so I don't think that, or I guess I would feel comfortable with receiving that increase.
I think going online and Google is a lot easier than you'd be sitting down 2 seconds and fill out there to actually just take the paper, mail it back. They're like, no, I'm not doing all that.
And Debbie, did you say there was a way to do a Google, to fill that out online, but have it remain confidential?
Yes, it would only come to me, which is where the forms go currently.
Mm-hmm.
So it's confidential in that they're sending it back to the same spot they would be sending it even if it was paper or in person with me. And then again, using that trend or data that's urgent to take forward.
Debbie,
When I worked there, it goes to HR person in Connecticut. We didn't see it.
Ah, there you go.
Debbie, I want to thank you for answering our questions. Carrie, it was a really great question, like how is that information shared to the leadership teams in their schools? And I think that this information is so vital to employee retention and also to the morale. Well, the question that I had asked you about that form is it electronic? And like I agree with what President Stanley had mentioned, that we should streamline that form so that it's easier for our employees to answer that form. I'm wondering if we could have more discussion around the survey. I know this is new to our district. We've only implemented this for about 2 years now, so we're still learning as we're going. I'd like to see the percentage increase. Maybe we can have some discussions about how we send out that electronic form. So maybe once the employee submits their resignation letter, maybe we send them an email with a link. And that would be something that we would request immediately. But this is just a thought that I have, but I would like for us to discuss that a little bit more. And then also, I had asked the question about one of the categories, or two of the categories, quality of supervision and also work conditions. I'd like to get a little bit more detailed information about those categories, either so that we can better understand, like for instance, an employee says they have a heavy workload, we can understand a little bit more on that and get more details on that. Because the key of this information is to improve employee employment, right? So,
Sure.
yes.
Just to be clear, the information that we receive on the form sometimes is more elaborate. It would be, heavy workload because during this section of the day, more students were in my classroom, that type of thing. So we do have that information. I have not captured it in this report, but that is a piece of what I'm taking forward in terms.
Well, thank you for providing us with the report.
Certainly.
Yeah, I appreciate the detail, and I'm also interested in increasing, so I've done a lot of different kinds of surveys in my professional life, and actually 27% response rate is pretty good. Our sample size is so small, though, it would be great to get an increase in responses, and I'm wondering if there's a possibility of switching, do the electronic form first, and maybe follow up in paper later, and then also the timing of the survey. If they've had their last work day, and if they don't hear, if we don't ask for their thoughts for another, I'm not sure what time it would be, a month after, when we've had a board meeting and accepted their resignation, but maybe something closer to their last work day might be, might get a better response rate, or even within their last week of work. I don't know if that's an option that we have, but maybe something to consider.
Sure, especially if we're doing electronically, we certainly have most employees, that we can send it to.
I don't think it's something in board and the policy saying that you could send out. I'm trying to think of a policy that's saying we have to accept the resignation. So they haven't really resigned yet until the board accept it. So I don't think it's a policy, is it?
Are you, I want to be clear on what you're asking. Are you saying that we would be okay to send out the document to ask for the feedback before the final board
Right.
action? Yes, I believe that we are.
I don't think it's a policy. I've seen one.
I'm not aware that it's a policy that we would need to wait to ask for this information until there's board action. It's the only thing that would change that is if they rescinded their resignation. Then it'd still be fine that we gathered it, but they wouldn't really do anything, so it wouldn't necessarily be. It would be a different category.
I say we should revisit this, in the board workshop somewhere. We got a little time. Bring it back, and we take a look at it and see if we want to add or delete something on the survey. Just kind of Sergeant work with it.
Sure. You want to get it right.
There you go.
Thank you for the report, though.
Well, appreciate it.
It's the continuity of the survey,
Right.
and then looking at the patterns that are going to matter most, and so appreciate the effort to collect information.
Thank you.
Thank you. And the next items be action items. Subcommittee approval.
So Debbie, you can come on back up and share about surplus approval.
So in the Orting School District, we have a process by which we surplus items, whether it be computers, technology type items, whether it be vehicles, or soon, not this time, you'll see curriculum as well that is obsolete. We are bringing to you tonight a request that you would approve that we surplus 4 vehicles that are no longer in use in the district. One of them specifically we were utilizing in our facilities team, and it is more costly to repair it than to replace it. The other items are technology equipment, and you can see within the document, the attachment, that most of the items are broken. There was a question about where do we store them, and if we were to surplus all this information now, would we make room with additional classrooms? And I wish that were the answer, but the answer is that we have been utilizing room over at the Transportation Maintenance Department. They will be thrilled to get some of their space back. We worked hard this summer to put some of the information into use so we could get behind it and get some of our electrical supplies, et cetera, but to fix things in the district. The other spot is we've been using some hallways and spaces at central office. I'm sure people will be thrilled to get things out of the hallway that we've had on pallets and shrink wrap so that we can move it on. But your approval tonight would allow us to complete the attempt at selling the 4 vehicles and also to call in a surplus company to take our broken technology. If any of it is not accepted by them, then we plan to recycle.
Need a motion?
I'll move to approve the disposal of the surplus items as presented.
Second.
Your first and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Thank you.
That, can I talk to you again?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't carry my agenda up, but I believe the next one is conditional certificates, is that accurate?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so the next one, we are asking for your approval for us to be able to obtain conditional certificates for teachers who have been hired in the Oregon School District as brand new teachers, and this is unique. Normally I come up here and I ask you for something because we've recruited a candidate that is not in the traditional teacher prep program pathway. And there's been questions like, are you going to monitor it? And are you going to make sure that they complete the program and have the appropriate certification? What we're asking for tonight is that they have this conditional certificate until everything gets caught up with the certification office and allows their already completed program to be processed in a way that will generate their actual certificate. So we have 5 employees who were not able to obtain their regular teaching certificate, having just completed their program by the end of summer. And we just need that little stopgap to make sure that we're legit and legal and doing what we need to do until their certificates come through.
Olympia, get out there.
They have a heavy volume. They've brought on additional customer service reps, and they've actually, you're right, but it's amazing what they do. They greet us at conferences and such, and they are all about customer service now. But I think we hit them hard with some pretty good numbers from graduate programs this year.
That's good.
Which is
That's a good thing. Yeah.
Right,
That's
right.
a good thing. All righty, we need a motion.
I'll move to approve the requests for the district to obtain conditional teaching certificates for Kelsey Webster, Sam Marco, Natalie Dutchert, Chandler Coates, and Courtney Henson, beginning with the 2019-2020 school year.
I'll second.
Motion is first and second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passed. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, the endorsement of waiver. Did you again?
So out of endorsements. So we have a teacher who is already on staff who went and obtained her master's in math, and she took the appropriate test to complete the program, and which was not an in-state program, but it's online and accessible. When she totally completed her program and went to add the endorsement to her certificate in Olympia, they said, we require another test. We were shocked, she was shocked, and so she just needs to take one more test. Our ask of you is that the board would consider an out of endorsement. This is something you do at the board level. It does not, we don't put in a request to OSPI for this, but it allows us legal coverage for this teacher to teach math until such time as she passes her test and gets that endorsement added.
I don't remember reading, when is she due to take the test?
That is, I don't have that information specifically here, but I know, I think all our teachers are rock stars, but this one's really a rock star, and I know she's on it.
I have to comment about Denise Thompson. She's been an awesome educator for our boarding schools. My kids have all had her, all 5 of them. I met her for the first time when I moved to Ording about 11 years ago. And she has just been such a great educator and just a happy individual. I love being around her. Congratulations to her. And also for her to stay with boarding schools and continue her educational goals and allowing our children to learn from her. She's amazing.
We want to get that emotion.
Yes, I'll move to approve the request for Denise Thompson to teach math under an out-of-endorsement waiver assignment for the 2019-2020 school year.
Second?
First and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes passed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're done with you now.
Okay, all right.
Thank you, Debbie.
The next on the agenda is the consent agenda, item 1 through 7. Any questions? So basically what we do, we approve the whole agenda, the consent agenda. If you have questions, this is time to ask the questions.
Well, I had a couple of questions, but they were answered, so thank you so much for the district office for taking the time to answer questions.
And I apologize if I forgot to send one in. The PSESD PD enroller and local agreement, there were two pricing options, two fee options in there. And I was curious which one we would go with. Sorry.
Debbie, is that something you can answer now, or do we want to get back to the board on that?
Can I take a quick glance?
It's on page 2, annual membership subscription. One was 35 cents per student, the other is $1.25 per student.
I do not know the answer off the top of my head. I feel like I could make a guess, and I don't want to do that. There was a conversation in Human Resources about which option we would choose. Marcy, do you recall the
I remember the conversation.
one that we, but I can get that information and provide that back. Do you have a dollar amount on the agenda? Oh, it's there.
And there's not.
What's throwing me a bit is I believe, I thought in talking to Terry Van Zanten in our Human Resources Department has been overseeing this project, and I was thinking that we had gone with the less expensive option, and yet I believe what we did, I will take a guess because I really do believe this is what we did. I think we went with the $1.25, but we are offering the clock hours free of charge to our staff.
I believe that is right.
So it threw me when I was looking at the 35 cents, because I was like, why would we go with the higher option? But I do remember that as the ability for our staff to not only attend the classes, but to be able to obtain the clock hours, that we did go with that option.
The board asked a question about one item on vouchers, which was Cascade Government Legislative Services for Ording portion of Pierce County. And thank you, Business Office, for capturing that information. Marcy, I think you did homework on this. So the answer to that is this is the monthly charge for an agreement that we have around legislative services as part of a larger effort on behalf of Pierce County school districts. And so they support Pierce County schools in that way. There was another question on the voucher report about Solution Tree. Solution Tree provides our professional learning community professional development, professional learning community, our PLCs, which is our Collaboration Friday. So a question was, we've been charged a cancellation fee, but we also paid $29,000. And that was because we sent a large group, 45 staff members, to the Seattle PLC conference. But there was a refund from a previous conference registration. So we were refunded and we paid out. So I hope that answered your question. If not, Steve Rev is probably more equipped to answer that than I am.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that.
He gave me the thumbs up.
Any other questions?
Any further questions?
And we do the consent agenda without the annual agreement. I don't think the cost of
Okay.
So we'll pull the Puget Sound ESD interlocal agreement off the consent agenda and bring it back to another meeting.
I'm supportive of the program,
Yes.
but I'd like to know before we agree
Yes,
what we're spending.
absolutely. So this will be for items 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, and 7.
So we just need to know what is any way, can we come back to it? Did they look it up? Can they look it up real quick or?
No, we'll pull it off and we'll just bring it back.
Okay. So when you make the motion, you make the motion for everything but number 3. And we'll bring it back next meeting.
I'll move to approve items 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, and 7 on the consent agenda.
Second?
Second.
First and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. Next one, board comment, student rep report. Who's giving the report today? The newbie?
Ashley, you want to start, and then Ava can do her pieces afterwards. That way she gets an excellent model of a student representative presentation.
So an update on leadership. Okay, I need to take this off. Okay, that's better. An update on ASB leadership is that actually we're not doing that bad. We do have some struggles here and there, but it's nothing too serious. We're taking each month like a step at a time, so we aren't overwhelmed. But this year we're focusing on how to get more student involvement and connecting with each other throughout the year, rather than just certain weeks like winter wishes, Tolo prom, and homecoming. We really want to focus on like doing it throughout the whole year. And speaking of homecoming, this year's theme will be a night under the big top, which is like a vintage circus type of theme. I really love it, and yeah. Next Friday, we begin decorating our class hallways. And I've already started, you know. I'm trying to win senior year, you know. But Monday will be Monday movie night, and the theme, like the dress up day, will be night in versus night out, which is like pajamas versus fancy. I'm gonna be pajamas. Tuesday is the volleyball tailgate, and it's athletes versus mathletes. Wednesday is the homecoming parade at 6:30 p.m. So if anyone wants to come, they're more than welcome to. And right after that is our class Olympics. So if you want to watch us compete with each other and get really competitive, that's going to be fun too. So, and it's also Wacky Wednesday. Thursday is our homecoming assembly and our powder paint ward at 5:30 p.m. along with the girls soccer game right after. And it's meme day. And Friday is the football game at 7 p.m. and it's class color wars. Yeah. Oh, and Saturday will be our homecoming dance. Yeah, that's all.
Wow. It's fun.
Ashley, what are the colors for the grades? What are your colors?
Seniors are red, juniors are black, sophomores are white, and freshmen are yellow.
Where did yellow come from? The beak?
Yeah, the beak.
ASB's been doing a lot of work. Thank you. Bonnie, will you add those homecoming dates to the calendars for the board, please? Thank you. Ava, do you have a report for us at your very first meeting?
Yes, I'm going to report about the sports going on right now. So for golf, there's actually 9 new golfers, which is really cool. And there's also a returning state participant, and they're hoping to send more kids to state this year. And they're currently second place in the league. And volleyball, they have a tournament at Franklin Pierce on Saturday. And they won their first game against Centralia, and they won their first 3 sets, so that was cool. And soccer, they won against Vashon 1-0, and all their other games this year have been tied. But they have a game tonight, actually, against White River. And cross country has a game, or a tournament, whatever, on Saturday at Stillicum. And then football, both their games got canceled because of the lightning, which was kind of crazy, but they have a game tomorrow at Eatonville. Yeah, that's all. I don't have that much, I'm sorry.
That's good.
Good,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, too.
Thank you, ladies.
It'll take some homework to prepare that, so thank you for doing that.
The next will be board comments. Any comments from the board?
I want to make a comment towards Ashley Castro. I want to thank you for being a voice for ASB. I believe that, I hear that you are an amazing leader at the high school, and you've taken charge of that leadership responsibility, and I really appreciate that very much.
Yeah, I really appreciate you saying that because
Yes.
it is a workload.
Yes, and I've seen you work years prior, coming in during the summertime to help with all the ASB duties before school even began. And I know that you're taking a lot on your shoulders, and I want to thank you for being such a great leader and being here tonight and sharing with us that you guys are doing great.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
really want to thank our leadership classes because they're working really hard too, and Mr. Basket and Miss Almond, they're working really hard too. And I always come after school with Miss Almond, hey, is there anything you need help on? Is there anything I can do? And yeah.
I believe it. I absolutely believe it. So thank you very much.
Very proud of you, Ashley.
Very proud of you.
Any more board comments?
We have a board work session on October 3rd starting at 6. And that's also the college and career night at the high school. And so I was thinking that if we finish in time, it might be neat to have our own board work session and then see if we can go and visit the college and career fair.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I'd like to do that.
What's on the agenda? Is it a big agenda? That's good.
I need to look.
That is what we need to know.
Yeah.
Any more comments from the board? Do we need an executive session? For employment relations? All right. We'll be going to executive session for 15 minutes to discuss employee issue, yes. We'll be coming out of executive session and just adjourning, nothing will be happening after that, we won't rule or anything, so we'll be going to executive session for 10 minutes. You will to come back, but nothing will be done after.